Hey guys, I've got another 7-string exercise for you to practice, and this is going to be like a dual lesson. And what I mean by that is we're going to combine two of the most amazing subgenres and styles of metal, and it's kind of what I consider to be like the foundation of metal music and what other subgenres are built on, and that's thrash metal and death metal. And it's going to sound like this. Alright guys, we're going to jump right into this lesson. I'm going to play everything, slow it down for you, and I'll have the tabs on the screen. And hang around after the video because there's a little backstory behind this particular riff that you're about to learn. Or, well, two riffs. Alright guys, so the sound quality on the video is a little bit different because I'm ditching the lapel mic. I won't quite reach as far as I need it to and hold my guitar like this. So anyway, should be good enough. I'm going to break this pattern down into several little bite-sized chunks, okay? And we're going to play the first part first, the death metal part, and then we'll merge into the thrash metal style. So I'm going to play the death metal piece all the way through, and then we'll break it down again into small little chunks, and I'll throw up the tabs as well. So here's the first part of the song. Now that might seem a little complex, but again, we're gonna break this down piece by piece, and I'm gonna skip the alternate picking for now, and let's just learn the notes first, and I'll tell you why once we learn this pattern here. So the first part of that, and I'll throw the tabs up down there somewhere, is we're starting out on the B string. I'm in standard tuning, by the way. I think most of you guys know who watch me on a regular basis. You know I rarely ever use anything other than standard tuning. So I'm in standard tuning. My first string on my 7-string guitar is a B, and then everything's standard. So the B string is open. We start out that. Then we go 3-2. Then we drop down to our E string, and we're playing kind of a chromatic, and we're going to be playing frets 5, 4, and 3. Okay, so here it is. All right, for the second part of this riff, we're gonna hop over to the A string, and we're gonna play frets 5, 4. Then we're gonna jump back to the E string and play frets 5, 8. So there's a little bit of a stretch there. So these are the notes. Now what's cool is the third part of this death metal riff is actually the same part as the first. So let's just go over that one more time. Make it easy for you. Okay, so you've got that down. Now the fourth part is the same as the third part. However, it's minus that 8th fret. Give that last note just a little vibrato. Okay, now let's go through that entire pattern from start to finish. I'm going to play it slow. You'll have the tabs. Let's try to play along with this. All right, so now let's throw in the alternate picking on this entire riff here. So what I'm doing is I'm alternate picking and I'm palm muting, but it's not a full-on palm mute. There's kind of a light touch between the palm and the bridge here. And the reason that is because it kind of gives your guitar that extra growl, especially on the 7-string, on those lower notes there. So before we go into the entire pattern here, I want you to just get used to alternate picking that first part. So just practice this. You could probably hear the difference in my palm there. It's slightly on that bridge. You hear a little bit of growl in those notes. So again, I want to reiterate that, don't place your palm firmly for the palm mute. We'll get to that when we play the thrash metal part next. All right, so let's use that technique, that alternate picking with a light palm mute for the entire riff. And see, the notes now because you were practicing them over and over repetitively, and that's why I went over the notes, just picking the notes without the alternate picking. So now you know the notes, so you don't have to focus on that so much. You can focus more on that right hand technique, okay? And that's why, again, that's why we went over that first. So let's apply the alternate picking technique to the entire riff. Now, don't ask me how many times you're alternate picking those notes because I have no clue. I have tried to count and I always come up with a different number, so screw it. Just play it, alternate pick until it sounds right to you. That's good enough. Now we move on to what I call the thrash metal part of this riff. Now, this is a super fun riff to play. I love it. And it's kind of easy, but there's a little complexity at the same time because you're just getting your fingers to do some different things in some little different areas, and you'll get it once we get to this part, okay? So the bulk of what we're playing is on that B string, and we're going kind of back and forth. It's like a really kind of choppy dun 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 dun. This is a little bit harder palm mute too. This isn't the lighter palm mute that we did in the death metal part, the fast alternate picking. We really want to hear that chunk. So you don't have to bury your palm into your bridge or anything, but just a normal palm mute, if that makes sense, okay? We're going back and forth between the open string and the second fret. You play exactly that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Says 6 notes. Kind of sounds like Jaws. Dun, 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 dun. All right, now I'm kind of hungry. All right, so when we finish that first round of don't even know what to call it. So when we finish that first round of notes, we're gonna play a D power chord, but the heavier version because we're on a 7 string. So that's your first 2 strings, frets 3 and 5. So practice this. And it's kind of a quick transition there when you're playing it at the normal speed because you're having to go from that second fret and then slide up a fret, but then make it a power chord. Now the second part of that is the exact same thing, and this is where it can kind of be some little trickery here with your fingers and your brain, is instead of going to that D power chord going up, we're actually going to go down to the C power chord. Let's play it all together here. Okay, so we don't quite play it twice because instead of going back to that what note is that? The C note, we're actually going to play a little riff down here. And what I'm doing here, and this is kind of a string skipping technique because you're playing that prominent note on that B string and then you're skipping over that E string to go to the A string here. And here's the riff. We're gonna go 5, 6, then E string to 6, back to the A string, 5, Then a little chromatic on the E string, which is going to be 6/5/4. So let me play this slow. That little note there makes it sound a little bit more evil. Now I'm palm muting some of those notes, kind of like this. What I'm doing there, and you don't have to play it exactly like I just did, but what I'm doing there is I'm palm muting some notes, but some notes I'm not, if you can hear that. So I'm kind of playing that first round of notes, and then when I go from the A to that E string, I start palm muting there. It just gives that little riff a little bit more edge. Instead of doing this, sounds okay, but that sounds a little bit cooler. Let's go through that entire riff. We'll speed it up just a little bit. Now the challenge is going through the entire riff. I'm going to go through the entire thing one time at a slower speed, but then we're going to speed it up after that. I'll have the tabs up here along the way so you won't get lost. So let's do this. All right, so that was probably pretty fun for you to play, if I had to guess, because it was really fun for me to write, and I love recording this. This is actually part of a song that I recorded for a very close friend of mine, Dale at Self Publishing with Dale. I recorded this tune for his live sessions that he does on YouTube. Now, Dale helps other people publish their own books, hence self-publishing, and he wanted a death metal song to go with his live sessions, so he reached out to me, and I'm like, sure, dude, I'm on it, because I love doing stuff like this. So how I know Dale is I was doing some research because I needed help publishing my book, my first book. Most of you guys know I have a book called Heavy Metal and Weights. It's a really motivating and inspirational and kind of behind the scenes on how I got started playing guitar and lifting weights around the same time. So that book's actually available on Amazon and Kindle, and you can get the paperback as well. I'll put a link in the description of this YouTube video. But as I was on my search to find someone to help me self-publish, because I had no clue what I was doing, I ran into one of Dale's videos on YouTube and I left a comment, and of course he saw I was a guitar player. He plays guitar as well, so that's how we connected, and Dale helped me publish my very first book. I think this was back in like 2017. So yeah, I'll leave a link to Amazon to grab a copy of my book, because again, that's really something that I believe will help you guys, and it's just a cool story, and of course it supports me as well. But I'll also leave a link to Dale's channel if you guys are interested in publishing your own book. So let's talk more about the genres of metal real quick here that we combine together. Again, thrash metal and death metal, and these are my personal favorite two genres. I tend to lean towards the melodic death metal more so than just the regular death metal, if that's a thing, but it's just a preference. I still love death metal in general though. But merging these two types of genres, these two styles together, like in the same song, is really good practice, and that's why I did this lesson for you. That's why I created this little tutorial here, because I wanted you to kind of blend those genres together, because there's a lot of different little techniques going on here. You're doing a lot of fast alternate picking with that right hand for one, and I think that's one of the keys to being a great metal guitar player. And that's one of the things that a lot of people miss in playing metal guitar. People focus so much on playing leads, and they want to play fast guitar solos and sweep arpeggio. And look, all that's awesome. It's amazing. It takes immense talent to get to the point where you can do that fluidly. But oftentimes people leave out practicing their metal riffs. And the rhythm guitar is the heart and soul of metal music. So I really encourage you guys to take these types of lessons to heart and learn how to play these rhythms really well. Get really awesome at that, and I think you'll naturally get better at playing guitar solos as a result, because again, some of these rhythms in metal music, they're really complex. And of course, I always encourage you guys to write your own metal riffs as well. You know, that just helps you expand, and it helps you get out of that comfort zone. I don't know if you guys caught my little motivational speech. I'll put it up there about death by comfort zone. Definitely check that out. It really just helps you get out of that comfort zone when you start writing your own riffs. And a good way to do that is, let's say you learn a riff like in this lesson here. You learn the riffs, we combine them together, but then start to expand on them. Maybe add some notes to some little parts of those riffs, or maybe play some of those riffs on different parts of the fretboard. That will really help you expand and learn your fretboard a lot better. So just think in terms of that. Think in terms of, how can I change this riff to kind of make it my own? Add some more notes, maybe even take away some more notes, maybe even simplify it, and then it turns into a completely different song. So that's how you expand yourself as a metal guitar player and become not only a better guitarist, but also a better musician. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this really helped you. Leave me any questions or comments. And again, don't forget to check out the links that I mentioned in the YouTube description here. That's a great way to support me. And of course, again, I have Dale's link in there too if you're interested in self-publishing. Guys, thank you for all the support you give my channel. Until next time, keep it metal.